Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Transparent Credit Repair, the superheroes of the credit repair and financial literacy world. If you're looking to not depend on stimulus checks and come out of debt and give yourself some financial freedom, please contact Transparent Credit Repair at www.transparentcreditrepair.com. And you can also call them at 862-250-5122. Tell them Heritage Hip Hop sent you, and you may get something special. On this episode of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, we talk to Lady J Cosplay, who represents the Blerd-Hop of Heritage Hip Hop. For those who don't know, Heritage Hip Hop is about hip hop culture, in the entire culture. And anime, cartoons, comic books have always been a part of hip hop. You know, whether we're swinging through your town like your neighborhood Spider-Man, or you're still in Lois Lane from Superman. You Can't Stop the Prophet, and many other tracks. Superheroes and being people of power have always been in the hip hop community. And we talked to the very beautiful Lady J Cosplay, who cosplays not only to make herself feel good, but to teach the children something special, and this story is quite significant. Please stay tuned and hear what she has to say, and I will come back with the rest of my commentary afterwards.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Karez from Heritage Hip Hop, and part of Heritage Hip Hop is appreciating hip hop culture in all genres. We don't just talk to rappers and singers and people who make beats. We talk to people who influence the hip hop community. And comic books, cartoons, anime, and cosplay definitely does that. And I have a superstar on the line. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, my name is Jamila, but in the cosplay community, I'm known as Lady J Cosplay.
And it's a pleasure to get to talk to you again.
Thank you. You too. I'm glad to be on. I'm very humbled and gracious for that.
Well, you know, we're fans. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Well, once again, like I said, I call this rendition of Heritage Hip Hop Blerd-Hop. Because
I like that.
in hip hop communities, we've been talking about comic books and cartoons forever. Whether it's the Sugar Hill Gang, remember? He's a fairy, I do suppose, flying in the air with pantyhose, you know what I'm saying?
I remember DMC mostly, like, cause he ended up turning into a comic artist, but he used to mention us a lot too. That's the superheroes in comics.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has that one character that they're synonymous with. So tell us, what got you into the Blerd lifestyle? How did you know you were one?
I mean, I got in it too young to, think about what a Blerd was, but when I was, as soon as I could read, I was reading comics, so like 6 years old, and all the Saturday morning cartoons, that all just started my love for certain characters. My favorite back then was X-Men. I really related to the X-Men, and that's part of being a Blerd. Like, mutants were basically African Americans or any minority, like you related to the mutants and their struggle. So I really appreciated X-Men, and that just started. I mean, and like I said, the other older retro Saturday morning cartoons like Thundercats and G.I. Joe and stuff like that. But my favorite were the X-Men when I was younger, and that started the whole thing off.
That's dope. The X-Men were created off of the plight of African Americans, Jews, and homosexuals, the way Stan Lee taught it. That he actually made the comic book characters based upon America in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, and he's also stated that, Malcolm X was closely related. Like, he based Magneto kind of off of the beliefs of, by any means necessary, and then he did Xavier by Martin Luther King. So, not knowing it when we were younger, not putting it together, but as you grew up, you're like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, we've been influencing, hip-hop has been influencing every genre of creation from the beginning of hip-hop, Even with the portrayal of what makes heroes cool. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Who was the first superhero that made you go, that's me, when you saw them?
It was 1966 Batgirl, because she was the first one I saw on TV that was, like, she didn't have superpowers. You know what I mean? Like, none of the Bat family has superpowers. It's their training and their gadgets and, you know, Bruce's money. But Barbara didn't even have the money, you know? Like, she had commissioners, she had regular salary money, and she saw Batman and was like, I can make a difference too. And my favorite color was purple, so that didn't help, that nice shiny purple. Didn't help my little young brain, but you know, so she was the first person who made me say I want to be, you know, like her. She was really cool. And then seeing Eartha Kitt, even though she was a bad guy, I really loved Eartha Kitt's version of Catwoman from that same show. And then once I started reading comics, it was Storm, who I was like, yes. She's a goddess, she's a mutant, she's a leader, everything.
I want to ask you this. I know the male point of view, being a male, of course, when it comes to comic books. What was the female point of view of comic books when it came to finding heroes that look like you or that were synonymous to you?
Well, see, I guess that might be why I gravitated towards X-Men so much, because they had so many female characters too. Like, it wasn't just most of the other characters, like take Fantastic Four. You had Sue, you know, and even with the Bat family early on, you only had Barbara. Like, X-Men had they were just so diverse, period, that you could find not only you could find somebody that reminds you of your cousin, somebody that reminds you of your mom, somebody that reminds you, like, they just had so many characters that were awesome that that's why I went there. But it wasn't necessarily a female male thing, even though, like I said, I think subconsciously I noticed that it was more of who I connected more with. And like I said, the mutant struggle, I just connected more with. I grew up low, like, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, low class, but we didn't feel it, you know, but just knowing that and not knowing that, but just not getting as much as everybody could, you know, going to school, seeing people with new clothes every year. We couldn't get as many, or, you know, they got the newest toy and they got the newest this, and I didn't have that. And I just felt I had a lot of friends, but still felt a little alone at the same time, even though I had a lot of friends, because they didn't know the internal struggle, you know, and it wasn't just about money, but it was a lot of other things going on I wasn't going to. But, you know, when you feel alone and you read a book and you don't feel as alone, that's how I connected more with it, not necessarily male, female.
Yeah, I feel a slight racial tinge when people say, if you want to put something in a book, and if you want to hide something from a person of color, you put it in the book. When we've been keeping the print industry alive for years with comics,
Right.
with our history books, and things that pertain to our desire to not only see more, but to be more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. And that's, and I also think, like, just in general, I don't know, it could have just been my household and my group of friends, but we read more than we watched TV. Like, that's just how we was growing up. Like, my mom would always say, get a book. We went to the library. Like, the whole bunch of, it was way more stories and books in the library than it was even on TV every week. And you could pick more of what you love out of the library. Like on TV, you only can watch what they have programmed. You go to the library, if you like ogres, you can find ogres. If you like, you know, if you like princesses, you can find a bunch of princesses. If you like, you know, so it was always books for us. So I'm still a bookworm to this day.
My thing is, though, today's so much different than when we grew up in the games. I mean, I want you to tell us your age and nothing, because like, that's for y'all to find out. Look at her picture; she looks good and young. Let me put it like that. But when we were coming up in the game, you didn't have a lot of choices. You were force-fed 5 heroes. You were force-fed Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, which were the top 3.
Yeah.
Then after that, you had your choice of offshoots like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats.
Yeah.
So comic books weren't really, like you found a few, like I don't know if you really want to go back there, but when you were younger, you didn't really hear too many people be like, I'm a Captain America fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like they are today.
Right.
I mean, boys in the city like the Punisher, because they were something they could relate to, somebody with a gun.
Yeah.
But you didn't really hear people say, you know what, Green Lantern is my favorite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And You're right. Like, it wasn't mainstream. I was like, but you knew somebody was a true nerd like you if you did hear that. You like, see, he do know Green Lantern. Like, but you're right. It was never mainstream at all.
So in those days, I had a friend who did a dissertation for her doctorate in college, and she talked about the psychology of the cartoon character is what broadens and what broadens and what influences the mind of children. And her whole dissertation was about the X-Men cartoon on Channel 5, how children were relating to the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And what she said in her paper was something that a young man said, quoted from the Black Panther movie, when he said, after he saw Black Panther, this is how y'all feel? This is how y'all feel when y'all see y'all superheroes? Because when I was young, I wish I could be Batman or Superman. But when I see this, I feel I am Black Panther. So is that how you felt? As a cosplayer, you're dressing up as these characters, and you're giving people the invitation to believe. Why is that important to you to make them feel like that man when he saw Black Panther, to know that that is him inside that character?
Yeah, it's very important, especially for the children. Like, I do a lot of charity in cosplay, and it's so wonderful to see their face lit up and to see their favorite superhero in front of them. And what's crazy is children are colorblind, because I've done Batgirl. She's not African American. I've done Miss Incredible. She's not African American. And the kid has never once told me, you can't be the real Miss Incredible because you're Black. They always just run up and say, Miss Incredible. Or I've heard, I got your doll at home. And it's just so important. And then some of the older ones who do notice the color, they don't say you can't be. They be like, I could be anything because she's Batgirl. You know what I mean? She's now I see a African American Black girl, and they're like, yo, like, I thought, I didn't realize I can do that too. And it's an amazing feeling to know that you're making a difference. Even not just the children. I've had adults come up to me, because I'm also plus size, and say, you inspired me to be somebody who I've always wanted to dress up because they inspired me, and I didn't think I could because I didn't look like the character. And that means the world to me, because there's some days where I have a medical condition where I don't feel like myself, or I'm in pain, or my weight has changed just from the night before, and the outfit doesn't look quite like it should. But I'll still go out and do it because I love it. Like, I do it because I love it. Cosplay costs too much money. If you don't love it, you shouldn't do it. Like, and I do it because I do love it. I've been wanting to bring these characters who inspired me, who helped me be, help me see how strong you can be, or how you can overcome things you didn't think you could overcome by thinking outside the box, and just wanted to express my joy for those characters and to the creators. And I wanted to do it by dressing up as them. And so I don't let it limit me and sometimes I don't necessarily feel as confident those days where I'm not feeling myself. And to see somebody say, well, you inspired me, even on those days, or what I think may be the worst picture ever, and they are inspired by it, that helps me keep going. But I just think it's important to bring these characters to life in the forefront, so they know they're just not two-dimensional. Like, they can be three-dimensional, and you can be anything you want to be.
Okay. I want to ask you this. Cosplay is not new. People have been dressing up as comic book characters for damn near centuries, or characters from plays or on stage. People always wanted to emulate the character. What do you think made cosplay big now?
Well, the term cosplay, is more new than what you say, like centuries, and it's costume play. And I think it's just the means of how we can see it. Like, now we have social media. You have all these avenues, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, just everything where you can now see, and it's also more available. Like before, like you said, when you was making those costumes, a lot of that was made by hand, because you couldn't go to the store and buy every costume like you can now. Now you can actually Google Chitara and get a Chitara costume. That was not heard of in the 80s or the 90s.
You're right. You're right.
So now, because there's so many people making them and doing them, and China is like mass producing them now, like you don't even... Before, these prop makers who do wonderful things had to charge so much because materials cost so much, paint cost, the time was so much, that a lot of people, couldn't afford it. But now it's just so affordable, and it's just so accessible. and you can see it so much more. And you can do so much more visually with it. You can make cool fan films, mini films, you know, short videos. Like, you just do so much, and it's so much easier that it's just exploded.
What relation does cosplay have to the comic book community? Because from what I understand, people who cosplay generally do not buy comic books. People who dress up as characters really don't care about the books. They're more so into the fashion. So what is the genuine connection between both?
I want to say that's not 100% true. I think it's one generational. So, like, people in my generation, we still buy comic books. We started with comic books, and we continue to promote comic books. Like, that's just a certain age demographic. Then you got some of the younger folks who, like you said, aren't buying the comic books, but some are anime. You know, some are buying manga. I might be saying it wrong. Sorry. Manga. Yes, manga. Some are buying manga, and some are, you know, just going off of the show. But the others who aren't, you know, doing any books and just going off of movies and what they see, like you said, on the fashion, all the movies are still based from comic books. So even though they're not physically picking up the comic books or the cartoons or whatever they're watching or seeing, that all came and stemmed from a comic book. So it's true, maybe true that and it's mostly, like I said, the younger generation that hasn't been buying comic books or picking up comic books is still not realizing it, but still getting their stuff from comic books just through movies.
I want to ask you this because, like I said, you've grown, experienced in this field, and I appreciate this conversation because you're going to teach me, like I'm going to learn tremendously. And one question I really wanted to ask you was the change of inclusion, quote unquote, and I said quote unquote because I don't really believe it's inclusion. It's just make a way to make money off of looks. But with inclusion being added into the genre, has cosplay opened up more to people of color, you think, or do you feel that there's more choices for people of color to cosplay now freely?
See, so my firm belief with cosplay is that anybody can cosplay who they want, period, regardless of what color their original character was.
Right.
But not everybody feels that way. Like, some people really feel like, you know, they want to stick to their size or their color or their, you know, whatever makes them more comfortable or they look most like the character. In that aspect, I do think that it has opened up more because we do have more characters to choose from than we did back then. Because, like, back then, you only had, like, maybe Black Panther, Storm, and a few others that, you know, you can choose from that was African American. But nowadays, it's more. It's still not as many, you know, it's still minimal compared to what's out there. But it has opened more opportunities for those who do feel that way. But again, like I said, I'm a true believer of anybody can do whatever and they shouldn't feel limited. But some people do. And I feel bad for other minorities because they're really limited. Like, how many Asian superheroes do you see? Like, did we just get Silk? You know, like from Spider-Man not too long ago. But you don't get many. And other minorities, you know, you don't get many. But
before we continue this interview, minority is a term we do not use on Heritage Hip Hop.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. Well, I just had to tell you. And let's give the reason behind that so that the public can know the reason why. Why? We don't take to the term minority because of the definition of minority. Most people take the definition of minority to mean low in number compared to the majority. But if you look at the superlatives and the other meanings of minority, minority means child, and it means that you're being taken care of. So in your understanding of life and God's blessing upon your life, no one should ever call you their child except for your parents and God Himself. So we don't ever call each other anyone minorities. Okay?
All right.
Fun fact: we always say we don't sell cigarettes to minors, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
Right. So if you're a minority, you're one of the minors. You're a minority, which means you're more than one minor. So, like I said, we don't want to promote that. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. And that goes to my point. My point is nowadays we have more people who are creating, like so all the cosplay events and all the Comic Cons that you've gone to. I know you have seen more people of color, more Hispanic, even more Asian people who are drawing books now, and they have their own independent characters. My question to you is, how come the cosplayers don't join a couple with the independent creators to cosplay their characters?
Well, it depends. Like, for me, like I said, it's what I grew up loving, and that's why I cosplay who I cosplay. And, like my cousin, he loves independent. Like, he'll go to cons and just look for independent. He loves getting new characters and learning about them, and that's his thing. So I think it all depends on what you like when it comes to, like, do you love learning about new characters? Are you open to, learning more about new characters, or if it catches your eye, like if the artist, because that's one, your book can be amazing, and if it doesn't catch somebody's eye at a Comic-Con, then it's just going to, they're just going to go right by, because it's just so many things visually to see. And that's what good promotion and social media and all that is about. It's just that I think some people, like I said, are just, they know one thing and they're used to what they love, that they didn't necessarily take the time to see, oh, maybe I will love this new character, or maybe I will love that. But also, some of the independent, it goes both ways. Like, they don't always reach out to cosplayers and say, hey, I got this new character. I just want to, check you would probably look great cosplaying them. Could you check out her background, see if you like it, and, maybe we could work out. So it kind of goes both ways. Like, the cosplayer has to be interested enough to stop and see what it's about. Also, independents can reach out to cosplayers and say, hey, look, check this out.
That's very interesting. I think that's what's sorely missing from our community as far as people who like comic books, is that we don't really embrace each other's creativity. And this is what I mean. Let me explain myself first, because if I'm wrong, I definitely want you to correct me.
Okay.
Just the same way somebody would celebrate Spider-Man or Spawn, because Spawn was an independent, and look where it went. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us don't latch on to the things that are made for us because we're used to the norm and the mainstream being norm, when other people don't see us as a norm. When you say the creators don't reach out, that is sad to me, because if the people are what makes your brand great, you should reach out to the people. And just the same way, if the people are what makes the brand successful, then the people have to stand behind the brand. What do you think is the thing that disconnects both the people and the brands from each other in this given media that we're in?
I think you made up a good point too. Like the norm, that's one thing that's definitely, blocking the path. And like, I know I've been reached out by one person, but it was distance and, money at the same time, because it's like they reached out. I had this character I love for you to do. I loved it. I wanted to do it. But we were in different states, and by the time I had the money to do it, he had found somebody else that already did it, which is great. I'm glad he was able to, but it could be, that's the only time I was ever reached out by an independent person. And like I said, I think it's because it's not the norm, or to me, it's also financially. Like, because if I go into a Comic-Con for a reason, some people, it could be to meet your favorite celebrity, meet your favorite creator, to meet your favorite whatever, and I only have X amount of dollars, even though I may see a cool independent, and sometimes I'll grab a card and I'll sign up for their newsletter. I've followed some through that way. Or if it's a young child and they're selling it, well, not a young child, like a teenager who's just starting out and they're selling it pretty young and cheap, and I got a couple dollars, I'll make sure if I think it's interesting, I'll toss it their way. But sometimes it's just the money doesn't work for me to try something new when I came with an agenda and I'm looking for a certain thing and I only have a certain amount of money. And a lot of people that go to cons are even younger than me, so their money is even more scarce. So I think it's a combination of just not having enough accessible and not enough free exchange of ideas or teaming up, so to speak, also.
How much does it cost to cosplay? Or let me ask this question. From the beginning, from when you first started to now, how much did it cost? How much did it increase as you became more proficient?
Okay, so it's like a hard question, because it all depends on what level of quality you want your outfits to be and how comfortable and what your challenges are. So for me, in the very beginning, I only was hand sewing, and so I would buy like I would buy a suit and alter it, like a spandex, like cat suit or jumpsuit, depending on who I was going to be, and sew alterations on it by hand. And, you know, it was pretty fair. It wasn't too expensive, but then I couldn't keep the cosplay because I didn't have enough money to keep. I started with a black bodysuit because you could turn that into so many different characters. Like I turned it into Storm, Huntress, Wasp, a couple others. But I was like, man, now I can't wear it because I'm using the same bodysuit. So then I saved up so I could try to get a second, and it grew from there. So then after a while, I was like, the bodysuits are never my size because I'm more curvy, and I'm like, the ones will fit at the top or don't fit at the bottom or vice versa. I said, I'm gonna just learn how to sew. So I self-taught myself how to sew, and I bought a cheaper machine. So now I could do more for like the same amount of money I was spending before. But some people want to look right out the movie screen, and I, for one, can't necessarily make all my suits look like that. And if you want to buy legit ones, like that can cost hundreds of dollars. Like I love Power Rangers. My Power Ranger helmet, to get one that looks on screen, costs like $250. So it all depends. And I saved up for that for like years before I did my first official Power Ranger one. But the cut cost, like I altered my own boots, I made my own cuffs, I made my own gloves, like I made my own belts. I bought the morpher, but like just certain things I made my own. The undersuit I made my own. But it's everybody finds their own shortcuts and they go towards their strengths. Like if you can make armor out of foam but you can't sew, some of us will exchange. Like if you make this armor for me, I'll sew this for you, and that saves money. So it's hard to say, like, you know, it costs more now. It's just now that I know more, I'm spending more too, but I'm also saving money than I would have if I did the same thing back then. But I make a little more, so I can spend a little more. So it's not like I wouldn't have spent more if I didn't have more to spend, if that makes sense.
No, I get it. But see, cosplay is weird to me. You know why? Let's go into weirdness. Do you mind if we get a little weird?
Why?
Cosplay is weird to me because cosplay is one of America's secret fetishes that they're scared to admit to.
But I don't think people are scared to admit they like cosplay.
Well, wait a minute. Let's go deeper into what I mean.
Okay.
When you go into how Wonder Woman first was created, it was a tall, busty woman with a short skirt on who was getting spankings in her books.
Right.
That was the male fantasy at the time. When we lived in the Dark Ages, anything from Ronald Reagan and back, I'll say.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, Bill Clinton and back. When we lived in the Dark Ages, when the Flintstones were still popular, you know, it was barefoot, pregnant, hit a girl over the head, drag her home, you know, so somebody like that rough look. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So in fantasy play, that is cosplay to me. I could be wrong, but to me that's cosplay because that person's dressing up as a character for the desire of the person he or she is with. It just wasn't publicly done until maybe Exotica came around, and then it kind of grew into the comic book era with erotic porn where people dress up as superheroes.
Well, I think you're missing the sci-fi part of it. Like, it wasn't always just erotica. Like, people started way back when the Star Trek conventions were out and, like, the Star Wars and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So people were dressed, and that was, like, way back when, Kirk and Spock and all them and Star Wars first came out.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But
I see what you're saying, too.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, because like I respect the whole cosplay, period. Because I think all that goes together. I think in my mind, I mean, like I said, tell me if I'm wrong, and believe me, I don't mind being wrong. It's fine. I'm learning.
I was about to say, that's how we learn. I don't either. Yeah. You taught me about a minority, so.
No problem. But see, look, like when it comes to like people used to look down on people who read comic books because comic books originally were not for kids; they were for soldiers at war.
Right. Right.
Then when it came to cosplay, people would be like, "Yo, really? You gonna dress up as that?" But anytime you did it on Halloween, it was acceptable.
Right.
Or in the or like I said, in the bedroom, it was acceptable. And it got to the point where now cosplay is one of the top entertainment valued, like practices or hobbies in the world now that people are taking their bedroom sci-fi or fantasy dress codes and now making it a quote-unquote norm. What makes it the norm for you and not just something for special events? This is something you live now. Why?
Well, it's always like I said, I would have done it whether it was accepted or not as soon as I had the money to do it because that's what I wanted to do. Like I've always wanted to be Storm. It was great to have a place to do it. Like my first place I did it was Wizard World. But I rode the bus in Storm. This is before like I said, I grew up and I had to, money wasn't always there for me. So I was on the bus as Storm and people loved it. I didn't think some people of course laughed and joked and I'm like, whatever, I'm finally the goddess I want to be. But I think it's because when you are a kid, you don't have the money to be the kid that you wish you could be in your brain. Like, you don't have the money to have all the Xboxes and all the Sega and all the games and all the costumes and all the toys. But when you're an adult, you finally got the money to be the kid you wanted to be. And I think that's why all of us is so accepting of it. Because it's like, I've been wanting to dress up like that, too. And now, I found a friend who does, too, and we'll do it together. And it's just, I think it went from there. Anyway, that's what it is for me. Like, you asked me why is it my norm? And I love that, it's kind of the norm now because, like I said, I would have did it anyway. But I'm glad that other people feel like they can because some people need it to be the norm. They're not as strong to do it just because you want to do it or because you love to do it. Like some people need to feel like it's okay. And I'm glad they have that feeling. But I've always love the idea of pretending to be the characters that inspired me or the people, like not even just characters, like you said, is I was little, my favorite person to be every year for the our Black History Month play was Harriet Tubman. And I would fight to be Harriet Tubman every year. I'm like, excuse me, I've been Harriet Tubman the last 40 years and I'm gonna be Harriet Tubman my last year. That's that was my favorite character from the books we learned. But it's always been I wanted to show my love for these certain characters or beings, and that's why I've done it. That's why it's my norm. But
well, to be honest, I respect you and everybody else who cosplays because I don't take it as dress up. I take it as art. It's expression.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, no matter how you do it, it's all you. You know what I'm saying? That's my term when I say it's all you when I say that's your expression or I'm not with it. That's all you can have it. You know what I'm saying? Because, some people gender bend, and I'm not really a fan of that. I'm good. That's too much for me. You know what I'm saying?
I totally do Gambit.
Well, no, there's a difference. When a woman dresses up as a man, that's regular to me. I'm not trying to say I have like a homophobia or something. It's just, it's just not for me. You know what I'm saying?
It's like also we get away with girls like all the time, and no matter what, not no matter what, but like us growing up, it didn't matter. Like girls could wear the boys' clothes and it was normal. Like, so like it's more, I don't know, more accepted, I should say. Not that it shouldn't be, but it just was like we could throw anything in the closet and y'all couldn't, not growing up, not when we grew up. It was like,
you know why that is though? Do you know why that is?
No.
Because this is how a man's eyes work. And everybody on there who disagrees, leave it in the comments. We'll talk about it when you hear this podcast. But the reason why is because the way a man's eyes look, when we wear something, it's blah. But when a woman puts it on, it takes a whole nother dimension. So like you say you're a curvy woman, right?
Right.
Now, men love curves. Well, real men love curves, right? I'm going to put it like that. You know what I'm saying? So, a T-shirt on a man is like, I can just lay down and wear this and it's whatever.
Right.
But when a woman wears the T-shirt, it's like, damn, you see how my shirt look on? You know what I'm saying?
That's true, right.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. And it's the same thing with cosplay in certain aspects because it's like, okay, that's a different take on that motif.
Right.
I wonder.
You're right, 'cause I've had that said about my Punisher, or guys love seeing girls as Punisher, and I just think that's cute, it's awesome. But yeah, so I do know what you mean.
Yeah, it's America. Let's just put it like that. It's fetishism, but it's also eroticism, and that's the one thing that I wanted to touch on with you about cosplay that I think a lot of people get misconstrued because of the fantasy of it. I remember going to New York Comic Con years ago, and it said cosplay does not mean consent.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, because a lot of comic book characters are sexy,
right?
Dressed like Wonder Woman. Depending on how you like Wonder Woman, she could be sexy to you.
Right.
Power Girl got the boob window. That can be very sexy if you like boobs, right?
And Catwoman,
Catwoman, Lady Death.
I was about to say, then you got something like Red Sonja, where it's just like
Red
a bra
Sonja.
and like the
So or the you know who the Hood cosplay is for every male who they love? Do you know?
Well, my friends growing up, it was Storm.
Nah, that ain't the Hood. That ain't the Hood cosplay is Jasmine from Aladdin. that cosplay.
I not to think Disney characters like that, so I didn't even think about that. But you, I mean, I get what you guys.
Yeah, like they say, that's the thoughty dream. Is every thought has to be Jasmine at one time. but for the sake of the laugh though, like I'm saying, like that's the eroticism of it, and I saw the cosplay is not consent sign, and it really made me just go wow, because there are so many attractive people that cosplay, and to know that there are people who can take it to that next level is very dangerous.
It is.
What have you ever encountered that made you show your cosplayers, whoa, like this is more than just me wearing a character, like people kind of act a little crazy with this?
Well, I luckily haven't experienced it too bad in that way, like in person where, the cosplay is not consent sign would have needed to be an issue. It's mostly online where people have more heart to reach out to you.
Oh, cyber bullies?
Yeah, or either not even bullies, cyber perverts. They go both. Yeah, so like I've had it more in that way, but also like when you put like, not that, like, just because it's sexy cosplay don't mean you're out there like that. But I also do pin up for a cause, which is like where I'll turn a cosplay into a sexy version, and take pictures and offer it for charity donations for certain one. Like I did boobies for breast cancer, and it kind of went from there. So once I did that, I had more of the people who reach out just thinking, oh, because I do now boobies for breast cancer, it means you can inbox me all type of crazy if you want. But you got to know when you put yourself out there, that's a risk, and you just have to know how to handle it. But in con, I have actually been on the other side where I have made somebody feel protected. I've always tried to say, if you see my group or or me at the table and something doesn't feel right and you can't find a con, one of the con workers or security, always come to me or come to somebody for help. And I've had some people who have been touched, somebody went by them and touched their butt, or somebody has, that they thought they knew to give a hug, and then they hug them the wrong way. And so they're like, okay, now I'm not comfortable with you. You stay over there, and I'm going to go get somebody to say you're a perv, or that you're touching people the way you shouldn't be. But I haven't personally encountered it, but it's a shame to have seen other people. Like, I've seen somebody, too, just walk up and touch somebody's chest, and I'm like, would you do that any other place? Like, just because she has on spandex does not mean you can touch her boob. Like, it's so wrong. So I've helped people find what we call like black shirts, or like the con shirts, like the people in the official wizard world who work for a con. Like the newer people don't know to look what the people who actually work the con like are wearing or looking for. So I've helped people find those so they can report people, but I haven't encountered it personally in person.
That's good, because I mean, I've taken pictures of people at cons, and they're like, where's this picture going? What is it for? And I'm like, oh no, I'll do it for my website. And I give them a card, and they're like, oh, okay. Because some people take pictures and they just do wild stuff. So, like I said, there's a very negative side to this. And also, besides sexism, racism is very prevalent in that community. Have you ever encountered that as well?
I'm sorry, I fortunately have not, but I know friends who have and who are strongly, advocates for it being wrong, but I have not been told. Like, some people have been blatantly told, oh, you can't cosplay that because you're black, or because you're this, or because you're that. I haven't had that, but I hate when I see it, because first of all, who are you to tell me what I can or cannot do? You didn't buy it. You're not God. Like, like who are you? And there is no cosplay police. Like, and people take it to heart. Like, people really take bullying and negativity to heart, and that saddens me. And so I speak out on anti-bullying and just any negativity, like is what we term cause positivity, and try to turn it around. So I may not have encountered it, but I try to speak up on being inclusive to everybody, regardless of your race, your height, your size, your physical disability, like anything. Like somebody told somebody they couldn't jump in class because they were in a wheelchair. And I'm like, who are you to say that? They should be Professor X. Like how how inconsiderate are you to say that, or how even, that's just douchebag. Like I'm like, who are you? Like they had the heart to put on Flash. It's their favorite character. They're having a ball, and you want to just bring that negativity to them for what? Because your life is miserable? Like, I don't understand. So I've seen it, but I haven't had, the way I've had it more was for my weight. I've been told I was too fat a couple times, but not for my skin color.
Like I said, people love curves, so fuck all that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, they don't bother me.
Yeah, they're good. But it's funny how everybody will tell you can't do that because you're black. Don't do that. But you have on TikTok a high number of people wearing blackface, or you have all these negative racist comments, and that's cosplay on a whole other thing because you're perpetuating stereotypes and not art.
Exactly.
So everybody who does that, to hell with you and your comments.
Right.
We're going to support the art and the people who do it. So, Lady J Cosplay, please.
I'm sorry.
Please tell everybody your social media and how they can look at your work or contact you for any events to do anything where you could dress up as these characters and make children happy.
Thank you. So Instagram is Lady J, just the letter, Cosplay, all one word. Facebook is Lady J Cosplay Silly. Twitter is Lady J _DNA or Lady J _cosplay. It'll come up both ways. I have my own website, www.ladyj-cosplay.com. And I think I covered, and on all of my social media, you can find my email address or you could DM me. I'm pretty responsive.
That's dope. Now, before we close out our interview, I like to play a game on Heritage Hip Hop called the Rapid Fire Questions.
Okay.
Now, the rapid fire questions are not yes/no questions. They're not questions like what's your favorite color, what do you like to eat, or who you find sexy, because I don't really care. It's not about that. I really just want to know about you, your craft, and what makes it special to you. Okay.
Okay.
So here's the first question.
Okay.
What comic book character personifies you perfectly?
None. I'm a mixture of so many.
I like that answer. Because you didn't put yourself in a box. And most people do, you know. That's very good. The next question is, in your dream scenario, what is the character that you would like to personify and dress up as that you can own for the day or the event?
Trying to see. So I would say Wonder Woman, because when you asked me earlier who was my first, it was Batgirl. Wonder Woman was my second. And I haven't done her yet because I want to make her perfect in my image, which is kind of like a mixture of Linda Carter and I always say Gal Gadot. So, and I don't want to rush it or make it cheapy. Like I want it perfect. So I want to do her perfect in my brain justice. So it will be Wonder Woman.
Okay. With everybody dressing up as characters, the world is in peril, and we go through so much strife. Who do you think would be the ideal hero to save the world today?
I think we need some more, and this may seem like too goody two-shoe, but we need some more Captain America out there.
Captain America? Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if you was about to ask the next question.
I'm interested. That was a good answer.
Just because he always was just for humanity as a whole, and he started out as a person who wanted to do for what he thought was right, do for the country, and couldn't without this boost of serum, but he always was still that soldier that just wanted to do what was good for everyone, to do what's best for even if it was the enemy. He wouldn't necessarily want to kill an enemy unless he had to. Like, he was just for everyone. And you just need more people who are willing to say what's right, which Captain America always said what he felt was right. And he was just more of a moral compass. And I think the world has lost some of its moral compass.
Okay. This is going to be kind of lengthy, so please bear with me, okay?
No problem.
In today's society, we see more African-American superheroes. We see more like Latin, Hispanic, Taino superheroes. We see homosexuals in superhero books, right?
Right.
And I remember a quote from a former president or editor at Marvel saying, Marvel Comics, that is, I'm sorry, Marvel Entertainment, whatever it's called. And they said, we're getting to a time where being a black and a gay is normal, which means that being black or gay is not normal.
Well, it's not normal, right.
So I'm going to say it one more time the way she said it. We're coming to a time when being a black or being a gay is normal, which means that, like I want to say again, blacks
we weren't normal
and Hispanics were not normal. My question to you is, what dictates normalcy and how do we define it?
Now, I guess my definition of normalcy would be different from, I guess, maybe universal definition of normalcy. But
that's cool.
To me, normalcy is like, you're like, back to being moral compass. Like, I'm a very moral person, and my normal is to be as kind to everybody or to treat others how you want to be treated. And what I see as normal is just being a human being, period. Like, I need to eat, I breathe, I need to breathe the same air, I need to sleep, and just treating people the way, and not to say I wouldn't say I'm super religious, but I'm super moral, and that comes from religion, growing up. But I would say that to me is normal. Like, the generic rule, thou shalt not kill, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't, like that to me is what's normal. So not mainstream. Like, what's normal to me is being human, I guess I should say.
Word. That's deep. Like, I'm going to pause on that. Like, that was deep. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the next question. No, you define normal. And, of course, abnormal is anything that goes against it, right?
Right.
Who do you think in the world today personifies the superhero and the supervillain?
So just like a person, just any random person.
Hey, it's your interview. Answer the way you like.
Okay.
I'm giving you free range.
To me, the superheroes, plural, are the ones that help maintain the humanity I said before. Like, we got the doctors, the teachers, the learning, the medical, what makes you a holistic person, mental health, like all of that. Those are our heroes. Our parents, those the people who start our moral compass, those are our heroes. And the villains, to me, are the ones who want to promote the negativity or tear down the goodness that those heroes are trying to instill, or those who want to do the extreme ideals, like, which are negative, like racism, like homophobia, like those types of ideals. So those, to me, those are the villains.
Well, we live in a world full of villainy, so
yes, we do.
We'll see what happens.
Starting with our president, he would be my main villain right now.
Okay. Hey, that's what's up.
He's coming after me now. All my social media shut down.
Well, no, he just signed a bill today where they can't censor the social media like they've been doing.
I know.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, but you never know out with these people too. So I get you. I have 4 more questions and then we're going to end the interview. Okay?
No problem.
What was the biggest victory in cosplay that let you know not only am I a cosplayer, but I do it correctly?
See, well, to me, there's no correct way to cosplay except for if you're being true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always started out as doing it correctly because I did the best I could with the characters I wanted to do. But then what to me, like, what was the first part of the question? Like, what is like?
Well, what was your victory in it to let you know that you did it correctly, that you can be a cosplayer? Like, what did it for you? That victory.
Yeah, so that first time I put on a costume, and I knew I did her justice when a little boy ran up to me and was like, "You're the girl from the movie. You control the weather." And I was like, "Why, yes, I am." I couldn't touch his soul and be like, "I'm not Halle Berry," but so and his dad and you'll be surprised it was a little boy because I thought, mostly I expected more of a girl to recognize Storm, but a little boy ran up to me and the dad kept courting him because he felt so bad. Little boy just came and hugged me around my legs before I had a second to react. And he's like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "No, kids can do that. They get away with that all they want. They can do that." So that was when I was like, I must have did pretty well because he recognized who I was right off the bat. And I was surprised because he's pretty young. I didn't even know he saw the X-Men movies. But good parenting right there. The parents must have shown him the X-Men movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's dope. Okay. Is there a cosplayer that you like? Not I'm gonna say look up to, but you are inspired by, or that's your bar, and you measure yourself against them? Not competition wise, like you really look at them and appreciate their work.
So I have so many cosplay friends now, and I appreciate all of their work, and think they all are special in their own way. And there's something about each one where I'm like, I wish I could do that like her, or makeup like her, or I could be pick as original characters as he do, or something like that. But in the very beginning, before I had as many friends as I do, it was Sony Ireland and Eric the Smoke Moran. I loved both of them when I first saw them, and I was like so nervous, couldn't even talk to them because I just appreciated their artwork so much because cosplay, like you said, is art. But now, like I said, I just know so many and I see so many that it's not just one. Like I pull from inspiration from all of them now. They're just all amazing.
Next question. This is the third of the four.
Okay.
When did you know When did you know cosplay made it or it crossed over to the mainstream? When did you realize that?
Like when I can Google a costume and I can actually just buy the costume and I didn't have to piece it together or I didn't have to try to make this or do that, I could actually just click and buy a full-blown, Captain America or, Scarlet Witch or whoever. And not just the movie version, but the comic version. And I was like, wow, like this is so much easier now.
You know what's bugged out? That was a very cosplay answer. Because, for me, you know when it got big for me? When I started seeing celebrities dress up as Jessica Rabbit or Lola Bunny or Neo from the Matrix.
Right.
And that's what makes hip-hop so pivotal with cosplay and comic book and anime communities because hip-hoppers have been cosplaying as these characters in their videos for years.
Right, yeah.
I remember, maybe you don't remember this, but I remember Captain Saberho.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's a simp dude who's like Superman with a cape on.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or one of our favorite movies back in the day was Meteor Man. Not because it was a great movie, but because it was like Blank Man, like it was horrible. But you just looked at the costume and you was like, "Yo, that's crazy."
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, yeah, I love your answer because you talk about how you do it, and me, all I can do is talk about appreciating it. Cause,
right. That makes sense. Yeah.
Cosplay is dope. I just gotta say it is dope.
Say.
So everybody out there who likes cosplay, please follow Miss Lady J Cosplay at Lady J Cosplay on Instagram and everywhere. And when she does things, take her picture. If she's like raising money, do it. Do you do this professionally? Like people pay you to come and do stuff?
So with cosplay, I'm just teach you a little something with the tidbit. So unless you're a bigger name, why am I hitting the brain part?
Yeah, Han.
Tony Ireland or or like, but like you have to be a really big name to get actually paid and for them to fly you to a con. So most of us cosplay guests that you see, I guess technically you could say we're getting paid because we're getting in free or we'll get a free table. But a lot of times we don't get like money on top of that. Like they're just giving us a free space. So I have had that, given to me. But in return, we're supposed to advertise and we're supposed to, so it's like an exchange of goods, if so to speak. They advertise us, we advertise them, so, and that's how it works for most cosplayers. Now there's some who actually get paid to do it. I am not that fortunate, but I don't do it for that.
Not yet.
So.
Not yet.
Thank you.
We're always going to put the positives out there.
Thank you. Can I toss in one more thing that you made me think of, which is pretty cool?
Sure.
So when we were saying how, shoot, man, my brain, I'm so sorry. I told you I just hit a birthday and now my brain has flew.
Oh, is it your birthday just passed?
Yeah, it's May 13th.
Well, happy birthday. May the Most High bless you and your blessings runneth over so you have more than enough.
Thank you. But it was something relating to music. How, like, for cosplay, that's what it was. For cosplay, you'll tell a cosplayer they can't do this because of they're not a certain, race or height or, like I said, physical disability. But music, which is also art, is so universal. Like, you don't tell me I can't listen to that because I'm this race or because I can't dance or because, and I think cosplay should be looked at like music. It should be for everyone, regardless of what type of music you like. I mean, you do hear, I like country, and I do hear, you like country, people are surprised. I love all music. I love R&B, hip-hop, country, like old school oldies. I like 50s, music. I like everything. But you shouldn't be told that. And I think people think more of music as universal, and I think they should think cosplay the same way.
You just sparked the extra question in me.
Sorry, no problem.
And that was great. No, that was great because I know people would have got angry at me if I didn't ask you this question.
Okay.
So, back to racism. And not to say that it's important, because it really isn't, but this is a reality. Racism has made it so we have so many different Comic-Cons. That you have Comic-Cons for people of color.
Yeah.
You have the quote-unquote mainstream, where it's mostly Caucasian ran, And there is a difference in the Comic-Cons. As a person who dresses up, what is the difference in the atmosphere of the different cons? And I'll answer that first, please. What is the difference in the atmosphere in the different cons that are, like I said, ethnically ran or mainstream ran?
Right. So, like, one of the main difference in the for what they call like the Blerd cons, it's like a party environment. It's more of it's not that it's not professional or that it's not strict or anything like that where, like you got to have certain rules and security and all that, but more of a lax. You see more like music going on in the hallways that are not occupied by something, little mini, like, parties here and there in the con, which is great. Anime cons is just a whole different feel from like the mainstream that encompasses everything. Like you might have an anime section in some of those cons, but anime cons have a whole nother, if you know the anime world, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like just a whole nother atmosphere. It's like walking into a whole nother world. And then gamers, you got even though that wasn't race, but like even gaming cons is different. It's like a different mentality, when they go into a gamer con. Then the mainstream con is more like run, not from the blurred or the ethnic atmospheres, are more, I would say, like not as freely, to me, not as free flowing as the ethnic cons. Like you just feel more relaxed and more free to just chill and to just, I don't know how to explain it, than in the mainstream cons. Like it's so, I feel like it feels more money driven at the mainstream cons than the ethnic cons. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So say if you do want to get something done, you gotta, like it's just so, like you got to be in this line all day and you're standing here all day and you're doing this, like, like you get to have your fun, but in the big, especially bigger ones like New York Comic Con, if you're going to try to see a panel or to catch something, like it just takes away from some of that fun, free-flowing atmosphere. Where at the Xmas cons, for one, they're a little smaller, so you can get, more of the experience of the whole con, and they're just less, like I said, they don't have that more money-geared feel, if that's what makes sense.
Okay. All right. So the next part of that question, because like I said, if I didn't ask this, I would have got railed on. What Blerd cons have you been to that really like made it better for you? Well, like, where have you gone where like the atmosphere and the actual event made cosplaying and comic book collecting more fun for you?
Man, it's weird because cons haven't made collecting more fun for me. Like, that's just been what I've been wanting to do. Like I said, since the little girl in me who couldn't get all the action figures and stuff I want. Like, I'll go anywhere to get certain things, like a toy store or like a hobby store or a convention. But it has made cosplay more fun for me. But not a specific ethnic con, just a con with my neighborhood, like just, so it's more local cons for me, regardless whether it's mostly smaller local cons for me, because a lot of my closer kin, a lot of my close circle can go, so we all can hang out together. So some of the ethnic ones, it is one in Philly, which is great, but some of the other ones are like in Virginia, and and a lot of my people don't necessarily travel as far all the time. So to me, I enjoy it the most when I'm in Philadelphia, where most of my people are.
Shout out to Philly. That's how we do it. Right? So for me, before we leave, everybody out there that collects and likes cosplay and anime, check out your local Comic Cons when we come back out of Corona. Please stay safe and keep your bodies and your minds healthy so we can go back and have these events and not get sick. I want to give a shout out to ChemFest, Ekbach, which I've never been to, but I can't wait to go to. Also, Motor City Comics. I want to go to all of them. Even the one, what's the one in Virginia?
A Blerd-Con. That's
Blerd-Con. That's those. I would have it going to 3 of those 4. Well, ChemFest is my number 1, but those 3 I would like to go to.
One. I want to try that.
ChemFest? You never came to New Jersey?
I've been there, but not to ChemFest.
I can't wait for it to come back, and you'll be my guest. We're going to take a picture together.
Yes, definitely.
I'm going to have a Heritage Hip Hop shirt on so you know it's me. We're going to take a picture together. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be wonderful.
Yes, I can't wait, and I definitely want a Heritage Hip Hop shirt. Can I throw in a shameless plug for my con?
Oh, no, go ahead. That's what we're doing. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's called Ranger Station. It's the first all Power Ranger con in the Philadelphia area. It's moved because of Corona to November 21st. We're praying it doesn't have to get moved again. And it's in Chestnut Hill College. Even though it says Chestnut Hill, that's still in Philadelphia. But, so join us if you like Power Rangers. It'll be fun.
That's what's up. I may have to, if it goes on, please let me know and I'll bring my nephews because, you know what I mean? Every time I see a damn little kid jumping off my damn couch. so it would be nice for them to see it. That would be what's up. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Yeah. I'll let you know, and we'll also hook you guys up.
All right. So here's the final question of the interview. And once again, we thank you for coming on. You were the first person under the Blerd-Hop tag to get interviewed. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here's the final question. One day, unfortunately, you're going to pass away. I hate to be morbid, but it's the truth. And but you have a digital footprint in the world, and people will see you and be like, "Yo, she was dope. Look how she did the characters. Look how she did this. Look how she did that." And they're going to appreciate the art, the pictures, the posing, and the statement that you made. Like I said, boobies for cancer and all that stuff. They're going to look at that, and they're going to see that, and you're going to be appreciated by a whole nother generation or dimension of people. My question to you is, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind that made the world better because you did cosplay?
One, I want them to see that they can do cosplay and charity and do good things for the world and for children, especially children's charities with cosplay. Like, you can hit them on the nail. And I want them to see that, like I said, I cosplayed whoever I wanted, whenever I wanted, with whatever means I had. Like, you don't have to be the richest person. You don't have to be a certain race, minority, like physical disability. Like, I want them to see, like, she was a promoter of just being who you are regardless, and for trying to do good things with the cosplay.
Yeah, we gotta get that minority out your vocabulary.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I just wanted to make you laugh a little bit.
Make you aware. Yes, no, you are right. Thank you.
So for everybody out there, thank you for listening to this interview with Lady J Cosplay. I'm Karev, and we say peace, and we out.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. The lesson that Lady J Cosplay teaches all of us is no matter what you want to do not let someone inspire fear or reluctance to live your dream and experience your growth. She's a beautiful woman with a beautiful spirit who gives to the children and society through not only how she dresses up, but how she carries herself. If you're like me, you like comic books and anime and stuff like that, I ask you, how many superheroes of color do you know? There are a lot of independent creators out there, and even though DC and Marvel Comics gets the publicity with Falcon and Black Panther and Cyborg, there's still many great creators of independent comic books out there. So if you want to give your son or daughter inspiration, not only do we have people of color that cosplay, we have people of color that create books that deserve our attention and your money. So please, never stifle your children's growth. And with that being said, thank you for listening to this podcast. You can support us by going to heritagehiphop.com and becoming a member of the website. We take donations, and you can also buy apparel. Heritage Hip Hop store is on www.storefrontier.com/heritage hip hop. We'd like to give a shout out to everybody who helps make this possible. Shout out to our virtual assistant, Fatty's Place. If you're looking for a virtual assistant to help make your social media pop, please contact them on Instagram at FADDYSPLACE. We'd like to give a shout out to our promotion, placement, and marketing person. You can contact him at Firejaws on Instagram, FIREJAWS. For your brand, not only to be marketed and promoted, but placed correctly, please contact him and get some help. Also, we got to shout out Lex Diamonds of Diamonds Entertainment LLC, the other side of hip hop, which is sports, clothing, another conversation. You can contact him on DIEMENZ Entertainment LLC on Instagram. Shout out to Big A and the Big A Show. Season 2 is coming soon. You can contact him or look at the show on YouTube at AHDAYAR. That's IDR on YouTube. Once again, this show is brought to you by Transparent Credit Repair, the financial heroes of the credit repair and financial literacy world. You can contact them at www.transparentcreditrepair.com, and you can call them at 862-250-5122. We have more coming very soon, and we thank you for your time and for spending that time listening to us on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. So with that, we say peace, and we're out.